Good afternoon, everybody. It's Ken's. I hope you guys are doing well, whatever time it is, wherever you are. All right, so today we're going to talk about two guns that are extremely budget friendly that you definitely want to use when you're out there running, a stash run. You're not necessarily looking for direct PvP engagements. You're just trying to make some money, do some quests, or anything like that. So you have the MP5 and you have the PP19. Now, if you follow conventional, everyone else is saying, hey, MP5 slaps. MP5 is number one. MP5 is the gun you need to use for 9x19. It's not necessarily the most budget-friendly gun. If you're looking at an MP5 that it has, 26 recoil, 119 vertical recoil, you're going to be paying 94,737 rubles for this gun right now. Now that assumes you put this rail on it and you have three mags that are 30 round mags, and that's it. That's not the cost for the sight. That's not the cost for ammo or anything. This gun right here with three mags, disregarding the 50 rounder, will cost you 94,737 rubles. That's current prices right now if you have decent traders. All right, now let's look at the PP19. You look at the PP19, you're going to see it's unsuppressed right now, and it's about the worst stats it's going to get. It's got 42, 140, 175, right? So let's go ahead and take that off. We're going to put the silencer on it, and now we have a gun with 39 recoil, 165 horizontal recoil versus 26, 119. All right, let's see what that looks like in the hideout. So, I'm sure you've seen people spray guns a million times, so here we go, right? Obviously not correcting for recoil. That didn't look like it was too bad. All right, now let's see what a gun that costs over double what it looks like. Now, if you asked me, that didn't look like it was worth double the rubles. Does it look like that to you? And that's the kind of questions you need to ask yourself whenever you're thinking about building a budget kit. How much do you think this gun cost? This gun, completely modded out like I have it right now, not with this sight, is going to cost you 42,051 rubles. That's the gun and three mags. So you're looking at 39 recoil with 165 horizontal or 26 and 119. These videos write themselves, right? People say, oh, extreme budget, extreme budget, extreme budget. This is a budget. This one slaps. This one slaps. This is $100,000. When you're broke, that doesn't sound like a budget to me. This is 42,000 rubles, and it slaps just as hard, just with 100 RPM less. It's a no-brainer. You're going to want to go with these things. Now, the Osprey 9 is obviously the best suppressor, and that's going to cost you 23,000 rubles. I think I misspoke whenever I said earlier that the 42K price, this is actually the one that's going to cost you 42,000. This is actually a more expensive. It's going to add $13,000 to the price. So you're going to get 43 recoil. But again, if you go into the hideout and you spray this thing with, 43 recoil, yeah, it gets a little nasty. But that's obviously not correcting for recoil whatsoever, right? Go again. It has the initial jump of every gun that you've ever played with in the entire game, but after that, I wasn't correcting for recoil. It's a laser beam. If you put the Osprey on it, gets it it gets it down to 39, and I guess that's like a magical value, which means the recoil in this game could use some looking at. It's kind of weird in my eyes. Now, another thing you want to do and this is obviously, I'm getting into, at this point of the video, I'm kind of going to start talking about raids and how you actually want to kind of play Tarkov whenever you're trying to do quests and stuff like that. So the number one thing I do when I'm trying to run a budget kit, and yeah, I have 21 million rubles, but I like to pretend like I don't have that, right? Like I'll gear up with a pistol, go out there, do what I need to do, and just try to build a kit and build a kit and build a kit and roll a kit and just kind of sort of zero to hero or whatever. I personally find that fun, right? And the number one thing you want to do whenever you're using a gun like the PP-19, when you're having a rough day, like this is the rough day extravaganza. Like you're not going to get better than this gun as far as cheapness and effectiveness. Now, as far as what bullets you want to run in this gun, uh, that is kind of sort of up to you. I personally wouldn't say, I would say stick away from leg meta just because I'm not good at leg meta, so I wouldn't recommend it to you. PSTGZH is perfectly fine. You just have to spray for the head, right? And the fact of the matter is, if you don't spray for the head with an SMG, you're probably going to lose the fight, even if you're using 7N31. You really do just have to get that lucky head tap. A lot of the streamers you see, they have the accuracy to make these things, you know, they could use any bullet in the game, obviously. I mean, they're way better than me. Like I don't survive that many. I'm only at a 43% survival rate. I get dumpstered when I play this game. So again, going back to what I was saying about raids and surviving raids or whatever, the number one thing you want to do is run this gun unsuppressed, right? Run it out there, make some money, make your 100K, make your 500K, whatever it is you make on your first, run through, right? Then throw a suppressor on it, right? So now in Tarkov, the meta right now is to run silencers because everyone runs at gunshots, right? So you start shooting this thing unsuppressed, people are going to sprint at you. That's how Tarkov is played right now. People are looking for PvP, and if you make noise, you get PvP'd. So, throw a suppressor on it. Run that kit out. If it makes you a whole bunch of money, save half of it and save it for your next kit and then reinvest, Let's say you made a whole bunch of money on that raid where you had this thing suppressed, jump up to an MP5. You're going to have a better chance at killing people, and that's the idea. You want to build up from the ground as opposed to building from the sky to the ground. Everybody says, "Oh man, I go to raids and I go here. I don't do zero to hero. I do hero to zero every raid," and that's why you have 200K to your name. It's not because people have insane gear or whatever. It's mostly because you play the game wrong. You got to build up as opposed to you got to build from the ground up as opposed to the sky down. You build from the sky down, you're going to go poor fast. I have friends that play this game that outshoot me, outfrag me, you know, they do everything better than me, but they're perpetually broke because they go huge to every single game that they play. And while you can do that, obviously, I mean, everyone's watched Landmark. That guy will gear up, but Landmark also wins 90% of his engagements. I mean, maybe it's less than that. I'm just kind of sort of throwing out a number there. Me personally, I win about 50-50, right? I either kill him or I don't. Now, in a straight up duel, I'm about 50-50. But for the most part, when you die in Tarkov, you're not getting killed by someone who you see them, they see you, and you start to spray off, right? It's you see somebody, you shoot them in the back of the head, or they hear you and they kill you, back of the head, or you're walking, boom, headshot, you're done, right? And that's why in Tarkov, gear matters and it also doesn't matter. If you look back at your replays, you'll see what I'm trying to say is a lot of the times that you die wasn't necessarily because you lost a duel. Very rarely do you in Tarkov get into face-to-face one-on-one duels. It's either you're walking or you're running and someone hears your footsteps and they set up an ambush on you. You turn the corner, bang, bang, you're dead. Or you hear somebody, same situation. You post up on them, bang, bang, they're dead thanks to the gear. And while it's not a bad thing, I do wish there was a different way to play Tarkov. But being that it's a hardcore shooter, you know, that's what you're going for. And at this point, guys, I feel like I've rambled on long enough. If you want to use you know, an MP5 and you're comfortable with the MP5, I'm not telling you shouldn't run it. I'm just trying to tell you it's at a price point that it's not necessarily at an extreme budget. If you want to use an extreme budget and you don't have a lot of traders, you can absolutely get a PP19. You can get it for cheap and you can get this suppressor off the flea market for about 10 to 12K. You can get this one for 20K. That's it, guys. If you like the content, I don't want to say it, but give me a thumbs up, throw me a comment, tell me what it is about these guns that you do or you don't like. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one.